So I have a story for you today. It's not my story. It's the story that's on the screen. I'm not sure if everyone here is aware of this story, but I would like to talk about it a little bit and give you a little bit of my own kind of interpretation and some background to this story as far as I'm concerned. You'll have to forgive me if you don't mind. I'm getting over a little bit of a chest thing, so my voice is a little off. I apologize. So anyway, here's the story. New York City Black Lives Matter leader threatens riots and bloodshed if the mayor-elect follows through on his promise to police. This is not a story that's really been covered in the mainstream national media, but it's one that I think is really interesting because New York City has a new mayor. It's this guy. His name is Eric Adams. He's a retired police officer. And the thing about his campaign was that he ran on a pro-police campaign. So he ran on an agenda to bring more police to New York City. If you haven't really been paying close attention to what's been going on in New York over the last 2 years, the mayor that they had there, he wasn't exactly pro-police. And I don't think a lot of police officers were voting for him. Let's put it that way. With all of the Black Lives Matter riots and everything that happened last year, there's been a lot of politicians across the country who've been kind of caving into their demands. New York City was one of those, and they deactivated multiple of their police units. When Mr. Adams ran for mayor, he vowed to bring these units back. So let's get into the story a little bit. New York City's Black Lives Matter group threatened New York City Mayor-elect Eric Adams with riots and bloodshed if Adams restored the police department's anti-crime units. The police anti-crime units were disbanded last year in reaction to Black Lives Matter protests and riots and calls to defund police departments. Adams, a Democrat, won the election after campaigning on a tough-on-crime agenda, pledging to restore NYPD's anti-crime units. So that's the thing that I find kind of hilarious, is that across the country, a lot of these mayors caved into the demands of Black Lives Matter and Antifa and whatever these other nut job groups are that are out there rioting. And maybe as a direct response to that, perhaps not, perhaps it was moon cycles or something. There's been a tremendous spike in crime across the country. People who are voting, everywhere at least, aren't excited about this spike in crime. So the citizens of the city of New York decided they're going to elect someone who's going to be tough on crime, and he's going to bring back these anti-crime units, and that has Black Lives Matter people pissed off. It's hard. Here's the guy's name. The Black Lives Matter Greater New York, and this is the co-founder, Hawk Newsom, and his sister Chivana. I don't know. His sister with a made-up name, Newsom, are the leaders of Black Lives Matter in New York. Here's what their statement was. If he thinks they're going to go back to the old ways of policing, then we're going to take back these streets again. There will be riots. There will be fire. There will be bloodshed. We believe defending our people, Newsom told the New York Daily News. So there's no way we're going to let some Gestapo come in here and harm our people, he continued. We pray for peace, but we prepare for the worst. I want to speak on this just for a moment. We have elections for a reason. The reason we have elections is so that people can go and vote for what they want the city to do. And the mayor ran on a platform that he was going to bring back more police and try to fight crime. What you have is a small group of people who didn't get what they want, and now they're threatening to riot and burn down the city. That's not how things work in our country. Frankly, that sounds like terrorism. I don't know any other way to describe this. There was an election. The elected official came in, and he was elected by the majority of the people. So the majority of the people want a certain thing, and that's what he's going to do. And they have a small group of people who says, no, if we don't do what we want you to do, we're going to burn this place down. That is not how this country works. One other thing. Oh, there was a little bit of a back and forth here that I thought was interesting. There was a part where Newsom was yelling at the mayor-elect, saying that we're going to hold you accountable. We're going to shut this place down. We're going to shut down City Hall. And it says, during the meeting, Adams erupted at Newsom after the BLM leader swore to hold Adams responsible if future misconduct with NYPD. And that's when Adams responded, "You're on the ground. You stop the violence in my community. I'm holding you accountable," which is exactly what should be done. If you're a leader of people inside the city, then it's your job as a leader to encourage them to not commit crimes. And then he says, don't hold me accountable, being the mayor, being a borough president, being a state senator. I put my body on the line for my community. So I'm not here for folks to come and say, Eric, we're going to hold you accountable. No, it's us. We do this together. I thought that was a good way to respond to that, and it was probably a more measured response than what I would have given. Let's just put it that way. I want to give you a little bit of background on Eric Adams, and this is from Wikipedia, which I know is a garbage source, but I didn't have a lot of time, and the stuff in here is adequate. So I thought it was funny. It said that he served on the New York City Transit Police, and then he became a New York police officer then he was there for 22 years. He said he described his wanting to serve as a reaction to the abuse he suffered by NYPD in his youth. So he's one of those people who was told, if you want change, you have to be that change. So he decided after he was, I guess, abused or not mistreated poorly by NYPD, that he was going to go ahead and become the police, and that he was going to change the system from within. He was going to be that change that he wants. That's the kind of people that we're asking for in the world today. There's some other stuff in here that he's not without controversy. Without going into great details, he was friends with Louis Farrakhan, encouraged the city to develop business relationships with the Nation of Islam and let them actually run security for some housing projects and stuff. I thought that was interesting. Where is it? He served as an escort for Mike Tyson when he got out of jail. He co-founded a group called 100 Blacks in Law Enforcement Who Care, an advocacy group for black police officers, and sought criminal justice reform, and often spoke out against police brutality and racial profiling. So these are all things that I believe Black Lives Matter is supposed to also stand for. Last time I checked, this guy's a Democrat who stands against police brutality and racial profiling, was mistreated by the police as a child, and chose to become a police officer to change the system from within. That's the kind of person that I think we're looking for when we're talking about these kinds of leaders. The political party doesn't matter to me so much as the person and what they do. I only mention that he's a Democrat because the Democrats and Black Lives Matter seem to have kind of gone hand in hand over the last 18 months. So I think it's really kind of funny that this has come up. So that's really about all I have to say about that story. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. Is it too harsh to say that by threatening to burn the city down because you're not getting what you want, is it too harsh of me to say that that is a terrorist threat? Please educate me if you think I'm wrong. So let me know in the comments below what you think about this story, and we'll go from there. Thanks for watching. Those are my thoughts for today. I'll talk to you guys soon.